Hey, we back! I'm here with another Robot video, and today we're talking about gambling again. We've talked about gambling a few times, but this time it's a different type of gambling. It's one that actually is profitable as opposed to the money gambling, which is not, and that is weapon shard gambling. You may not know what I mean, but we'll start with the basics. Weapon shards, you probably know these. You get them from quests, you get them from dismantling weapons. They're used to re-roll your current weapons, your stats, your passive, whatever, and they can be used to kind of upgrade your weapons, make them a bit better, as long as you're lucky. But you can gamble your weapon shards, actually. You can risk them in order to potentially get some more weapon shards, and you do that via the shop. So if we have a look at the shop here, it sells weapons. Right, so for a rare weapon you can buy it for price 13, for an epic weapon you can buy it for price 63, and for a mythic weapon you can buy it for a whopping 750. I believe legendary weapons cost something like 3k, but I'm not actually sure. Anyway, the point is we have an interesting thing that we can do here, because we can buy a weapon and then we can re-roll it to try and improve it, and then dismantle it again to get weapon shards back. Now, for the most part, this isn't going to make any difference, because we could spend 750 on a mythic weapon, but it can't get any better than mythic, as ReactionBot here is telling us. If you're interested in ReactionBot, I've got a video on that already, so check it out. But let's go to the last one on the page, which is a good example today. Buying it for 63, as it is an epic weapon, but as ReactionBot says, it can get all the way up to 87.3%, which is mythic. So let's say we buy this for 63, we spend 100 weapon shards in order to re-roll it, and then we get mythic. We've only spent 163 weapon shards, but dismantling the mythic weapon gets us 300 shards. So we're making a profit of 137. That's not bad. And with the legendary ones, it's even better. If you could buy an epic weapon here for 63, re-roll it once, and then get a legendary one, you're making an 837 profit. That's really good. Of course, it's all luck-based. But this one is profitable because you decide the chances. You can look at the quality and the passive amount and all the rest of it before buying the weapon, and then decide if you want to buy it and re-roll it and get your stuff back. Now, of course, this isn't always going to work, but with some deals it has a really high chance of working. But let's have a look at this dagger, for instance. This 87%, that looks pretty good, and I think the chances of it going from epic to mythic is pretty good. But if you think about it, we only get 2 chances to do this, because we're selling this mythic dagger for 300 shards. If we spend 3 re-rolls, that's already 363. We're now making a loss. So we've got a guarantee that we get from epic up to mythic in just 2 re-rolls. The chances of that are not bad, but are they good enough? And that's what I was wondering. So what I did is I went ahead and made a sheet. We have talked about plenty of sheets in the past. They are very useful for Robot and for a lot of other things in general. But this is one that I've not come across. I don't know if it exists or not, but at any rate, now it does. I've made it. It will be in the description. And the purpose of this sheet is to work out the chance of making a profit on those deals. So we've got these orange boxes up here, which I've plugged in the values for the dagger. We have current quality, which was 77%, the max quality given by ReactionBot, which is 87.3%. You can also use passive reroll checker or some other bot that you've got if you like. And then we have number of stats. So let me just explain that one. As you see, it says we can have 2, 3, or 4 stats. So if we look at this dagger, for instance, this one has 3. We have the weapon cost, we have the percentage of strength, we have the percentage of poison. That's 3. We're going to ignore the passive because that one's getting re-rolled. But let's suppose we have a look at a different weapon, right? So for example, we have this sword here. And we've got a cooldown as well. This sword has a weapon cost and it has percentage of strength, but that's it. So that's only 2 stats instead of the dagger's 3. If you look at a flame staff or a banner, they will have 4 stats, which is more than the dagger. So it's just how many numbers in here are making a difference to the weapon, excluding the passive. Right, that's basically what you're doing there. So, we plug in these three numbers, and what it's going to give us is this output in the blue boxes. We get potential profit and percentage chance of profit. We have this if we're getting mythic and we're getting legend. Now obviously for legend in this case, that's 0. We can't get this weapon to legend. It can only go up to 87.3%. That's not legendary. But we can get it to mythic, so we have a profit potential here of 137 because it is currently an epic weapon, and that's what we're buying it for. And so it's worked out that our maximum profit we can make from this is 137. It works out the probability of a success per reroll, percentage chance on each roll, adds them up, and we end up getting here our result of, that is 49.87%. And we can actually probably make that a percentage now I mention it, can't we? There we go. Which is, well, it's not enough, is it? I would say you want at least 50% for this to work. Now this is extremely close, so I think realistically, if you did it, you would probably make a reasonable profit. But if you think about it, you're putting 163 shards down for the potential of winning 137. So you're not even doubling your shards, and you have less than 50% chance of it happening. I personally don't think that's worth it. So, whereupon discovering this, I decided that this number 10 weapon in the shop today was not worth buying, because it would cost more than it's worth. Hence, I have not bought this weapon, I have not rerolled it. But, just suppose maybe the max quality of this weapon was not 87.3, it was 97.3. We can go ahead and change that value and we'll get some pretty different numbers. The profit potential is the same for mythic, but now we have a profit potential for legend. And the profit potential is high, 837, because we're going from epic all the way up to legend. And then we have our percentage chance of profits. The percentage chance of profit for mythic has gone up a huge amount because the chance of getting this weapon to mythic is a lot easier if it can go all the way up to 97%. So this one is now looking really good. But actually the percentage chance of profit for getting it to legend is pretty reasonable. That's 58%. Again, we should probably change this to a percentage so it's a bit easier to see. But that's a reasonable percentage, and we're making a much bigger potential profit. So for this theoretical dagger here, I would probably go ahead and re-roll until I got legend. But it's the little sheet that's given me that information. And I think this is pretty useful, because using this you can figure out what your percentage chance of winning the bet is. With a coin flip it's 50%, with the slots it's 47.5%, you know, we've gone through these numbers before. But for this dagger, 90.51. That's a good percentage. We like that one, right? So, I plan on using this sheet as often as possible, as often as I check the shop. And like I said, I will leave it in the description for you guys to use if you want to have a play about it with it as well. And hopefully, you can make yourself some weapon shard stonks in the future. But that is all I have to say to you today, so I will leave it here. Bye!